And welcome to another edition of Rosen Sports Monday on this little snowy Monday morning post Vikings. And I will also say post Packers victory because our special guest today, I have to say this in whispered tones, is a Packer fan, but she's also a big U of M fan. We are thrilled to have Wendy Blackshaw, who's the CEO president of Minnesota Sports and Events with us. And full disclosure, Wendy's also my sister-in-law. We've been together for quite a while. You of course, was married to my wife Denise's brother for a while, and you've been a big part of my personal life for many, many years, and my kids' life. So, I mean, there's that part of it which will always be there: family, and that matters the most. So, Wendy. Thanks so much. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, wow, like you went down deep right there. My first husband. Thank you.
I know. Well, I want to establish our relationship.
Exactly.
We both
well,
through the trials and tribulations in different ways. So that's for sure.
Absolutely. And right, your kids are so near and dear to my heart. So yeah, it's always special to talk to you. I also have to admit that yes, I knew the first thing you would bring up is the Packer victory. So
we got that out of the way.
My heart can't take too many of those. I have to admit. That was but great game.
That was fun. It was fun, though.
Again. It was. And look at the Vikings.
I know.
I know this isn't about football, but we just have to touch on it quickly. I mean, what the heck? That's incredible.
A much-needed win and a decisive win over a bad team. It doesn't matter. The Vikings will take it any way they can. And now, they still got 4 games to kind of to get through it all. And they finish with who? The Green Bay Packers on January 4th. So, but we're here to talk some hockey. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank our good friend Charlie Schwanson of Lexus of Wayzata, Lexus of Maplewood, and Stretch Lab, my favorite go-to place on Tuesday mornings to get this old body working again. And we'll hear from them a little bit later in our show. We are here to talk about hockey because I texted you last week when we were arranging this, and I said, do you ever sleep? And you went, sleep is overrated. You've been a busy woman, and along with your staff, getting ready for the World Junior Hockey Championships. We've been hearing a lot about it. Give the folks kind of the basic info. We're just weeks away from having this incredible event that I know you bid on quite a while ago to bring to the Twin City area.
We've been working on it for over 2.5 years, and it's always really incredible when you're a few weeks out because it's like it's actually here. Like it seems so far away. But it is an unbelievable tournament. So in Canada, this is similar to the Super Bowl, and I think you know that. Like this is a appointment viewing. Like people on Boxing Day in Canada turn on their TVs and watch the World Juniors. This is incredible. And, during the bid process, Lou Nanny talked a lot about that. Like in Canada, this is everything. And last year when we were in Canada, it was in Ottawa. Lou had kind of said, this is a big deal to them. So they're really nice people. Canadians are awesome. When you are outside the arena, inside the arena, you've never seen anything like it. And I'm thinking, how bad could it be? I know how Philadelphia Eagles fans are.
We all do, yes.
Right. It was,
really?
They are brutal. Like they came in 5th last year, and Mark, you would have thought that the world had ended. They had reporters at the press conference at the end of the event yelling at the president of the IAHF for the reffing. It was like nothing I've ever seen. It's brutal. So I will say that there is that kind of like what we saw in Four Nations. There's that competition, especially between USA and Canada, but also between like Sweden and Finland. Like there's all of these really intense competitions that are incredible. And these are the future NHL stars. Like most of them have been drafted. If you look at any NHL roster, most of the guys who are played in World Juniors. So it's an incredible event, and I would urge everybody, like, you don't want to miss this.
Well, Wendy, let's just give the folks the background. Let's give the who, what, when, where, the usual things that are happening, because it's coming up in a couple of weeks. So tell the folks the dates and the different venues it's being played at, and how they can get tickets still at this point.
Absolutely. So the first game is on December 26th, and there are 10 teams coming from all over the world, and 5 teams will play at Mariucci. Team Canada will be at Mariucci, and 5 teams will play at Grand Casino Arena. And then once you get into the elimination and the, semifinals, finals, and gold medal, the games all shift over to Grand Casino Arena.
My.
So it's going to be, and then besides that, there are a ton of things going on. We've got a free and open to the public fan fest in Rice Park that also starts on the 26th, called Bold North Breakaway. So we've got Securian bumper cars on ice. We also have a whole fan fest inside that will have the Hockey Hall of Fame exhibits. There'll just be a ton of things going on. So again, even if you're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to go to a game, come on down. It's also during winter break, which, moms are always looking for things to do with their kids. So there's going to be a ton of really cool stuff to do. And single game tickets are on sale right now. And the games like the 26th, the opening ceremony game is USA versus Germany. And we're going to do a special acknowledgement of Team USA alumni. So many guys. I mean, these are all names you've heard before. Mark Parrish, Paul Martin. all the guys who played in World Juniors will be recognized. Lou Nanne is going to do the puck drop, and then the game on New Year's Eve is also a really popular game. And then, of course, the medal rounds. People are starting to buy those tickets. So if you want tickets, you need to get them. You go to worldjuniorsmn26.com, worldjuniorsmn26.com.
Okay.
And as I said, they're going fast, so get your tickets.
That's great to hear. And what a great time. I mean, think about it. People making plans. As you mentioned, kids are out of school. They celebrate, you get your Christmas holiday and you get New Year's coming up. But there's that 4 or 5 days right in between where this thing is really going to be rock and rolling, right when people are going to be around and enjoying our winter time as we are right now. I mean, it's a perfect time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also just learned, I no longer have kids at home, so I did not know this, but winter break is extremely long this year. It's actually 2 weeks, and every mom I know is pulling out her hair like, what am I going to do with the kids? So this is a perfect, I was at the dentist, and my dentist, who is not a hockey fan, was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm bringing my kids. So it's a great, fun thing to do with the whole family. Absolutely.
Again, we're talking to Wendy Blackshaw, President and CEO of Minnesota Sports and Events. What was the bidding process like? And I know we can talk about more of the other events that you've been bidding on. Sometimes they're with success, sometimes other cities get them. But as far as getting, it seems like it's been a long time. I know Louis, in particular, Lou Nanne was like, we need this event. This is our sport. We need to bring it back home. It's been a long time.
Right. So the bidding process is different for every event, but for World Juniors, we started probably 3 years ago. And what happens is that an RFP goes out to all the cities that are interested or that USA Hockey is interested in. And you basically put together, your best shot. So it's everything from why they should come here, what other things there are to do besides going to hockey games, which obviously we always have, Mall of America, all the amazing restaurants. It's very much a presenting of our region and what a great place this is. There's also all the financials, all the operations information. So bids tend to be somewhere always over 100 pages long. Like, it is a complex process that takes a long time, that takes a lot of effort, but we really wanted this one. And so we were up against probably 8 or 9 cities. Then they narrowed it down to 5. Las Vegas, Detroit, Seattle. There were a couple more. And then they do a site visit. And so then you kind of pull out all the stops. So we did a tour of Mariucci. We did a tour of Grand Casino Arena. And that was funny because at Mariucci, it happened to be during hockey season. And so we go into Mariucci, and of course, Coach Matsko is there, and he knows the USA hockey guys very well because he's coached a bunch of World Juniors teams. So he pops up, he's like, "You got to have it here. You got to have it here." And we get to the locker room, and he pops up again. He was like everywhere we went, reminding the USA hockey people, "You got to have it here. You got to have it here."
Well, we should mention Bob
amazing.
Matsko is the coach, right? He's the coach of the US team.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, what a great connection.
How cool. I mean, 50th anniversary, Bob Matsko is the coach. It's like such an amazing thing to have here in the state of hockey.
And you mentioned,
it's very cool.
We always hear anytime, starting with the biggest one of all, when we had the Super Bowl here not that long ago, but other big events that you've been involved with, when we talk about economic impact on a city or cities, both Minneapolis, St. Paul, and a lot of it's going to, Mariucci you mentioned, obviously Grand Casino Arena is going to be involved, but how involved do the hotels get as far as welcoming fans and media? And I mean, this is a big deal. There's a lot of folks coming to town.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the economic impact for this is somewhere in the neighborhood of probably conservatively 75 to 80 million. And, especially during a time when we are still coming back from what happened with COVID, what happened in our cities with a lot of the unrest. And so these events bring people here to, they fly into our airport, they stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants. Typically in St. Paul during this time of year, hotel occupancy can be as low as 6%, maybe up to 20%. So think about that. This is going to fill the hotels. You cannot emphasize enough how important these events are. And you mentioned bidding on events and sort of all the events we bid on. And I've shared this with you before. Our biggest challenge is that we do not have a long-term sustainable funding model. So what we've had to do is go to the legislature and ask for state appropriations for each individual event. And that just isn't a solution moving forward. And so we have been trying to figure out, like every other sports commission, like every other state that has a long-term funding, how do we pay for these events? Because they're bringing this event. It brings so much economic impact, but you have to pay for the expenses of the event. That's kind of the deal. So rather than having to go to the corporate community or going and asking for a state appropriation, how do we get a funding model that's there every single year so we can really focus on bringing events here?
Well, the one city it seems like is our good friend Justin Gard's always chiding Indianapolis for always getting these events. And I know they've been a big competition, similar size and city. Do they have that mechanism in place that you're kind of looking for? That what differentiates them and other cities from what you're trying to ultimately get done here in the Twin City area?
It's a great question, Mark. And yes, they have it in many different ways. They have a ongoing state appropriation that comes into their sports commission every single year. They've got so much funding, and it helps that the NCAA is there. But honestly, we should never, ever lose an event to Indianapolis in terms of what Minneapolis has and what Indy has. but we do because the leagues and the national governing bodies, they want to make sure that we can pay for it. So here's an example. We just bid on USA Gymnastics trials. We knocked it out of the park in 2024. I mean, we had the USOPC telling us this is exactly what every single trial should be. It was incredible. We bid on 28 and we lost to Louisville. And the Louisville. Right. But here's the reason. We did not have the funding. We didn't have the funding. And so that's going to continue to happen until we solve this problem. And every sports commission is a little bit different. You know, in Kentucky, their governor has some sort of fund. Now, we are much different than that here. That's a little bit janky. I'm not exactly sure how they do that. But, you know, in some cases, the cities and the counties put into the fund. In some cases, it's a set state appropriation every year. The one that we are really interested in is North Carolina just got sports betting, and a percentage of sports betting revenue, tax revenue, goes in, and we were in the sports betting bill, and we would have gotten a set amount of money every year, but as we know, it hasn't passed. So we do
so many things right in this community, and yet there's always these obstacles that we just can't do that. We can't get this done. I can't imagine the headaches you have, literally and figuratively, sometimes of banging your head. I know all the meetings you've been involved with you and your staff and others as well, to try to make inroads to get behind the iron curtain, so to speak, of the facilities to get this done and have a continuation of some of the great events that we've seen here. I mean, we've been to, like the Big Ten Women's Basketball Championships and other ones, and you just go, this place there's not another city that can handle it like this. This is incredible. The atmosphere here, people love to come here.
Right. Such a good point. And whenever we do these events, we over deliver because it's not just the event that's happening inside the arena or the stadium. It's also all of the ancillary events that we create. And that's really our secret sauce. That is the magic that we bring. And that's why we are so in demand. I have so many events that want to come here. But again, what is holding us back is until we figure out a way to pay for them. And we always do go. It's a public-private initiative. So we always bring in corporate partners, but corporate partners cannot do this 100% and pay for these events. So we'll continue to try to figure that out. But it gets, gymnastics is a great example. It gets really frustrating. And we literally could have had that event and we can't do it because we don't have funding. I will say, events like gymnastics, like Big Ten, like NCAA Women's Final Four, the legislature, for the most part, really does understand the benefit, and they have been very supportive. It's just finding that entity or that initiative that can give us that funding on a regular basis. And sports betting really would be incredible because it's not a new tax. It's not taking money from somewhere else. It's clean and it would be great. But again, we don't know if that's going to pass this session.
Yeah,
so
it's
we'll
been that way.
continue
Been that way for quite a while. And you realize the benefits. People think, well, we don't need more gambling. We don't need this. But you don't understand the positive aspects of it as well. And this is exactly one of them. We're going to take a quick break, Wendy, and get right back to you to continue. I have some other questions I want to ask you about your background. And we'll do that right after this. You're listening to Rosen Sports Monday. Hey, Rosie here for Stretch Lab, my favorite go-to place on Tuesday mornings. I go to the facility out at Eden Prairie, work with Jason, who works with me for my 15-minute session and really stretches me out. And I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'5", 6'6". I've shrunk a little bit, but Jason knows all the right spots to stretch me out, make me feel a lot better. Hips, your shoulders, whatever might be bugging you, they will analyze it. They will make sure that it's right and it does not affect you in any negative way. So I want you to check them out for yourself. In fact, right now they have an introductory 50-minute stretch plus assessment discounted to $50. Makes a great gift as well. So check them out, Stretch Labs throughout the Twin City area. And tell them Rosie sent you. Yes, it is Lexus December to Remember time. It's here. It is the very best time of year to purchase a new Lexus, and it's not even close. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter which side of the town you're on, because they have locations in Wayzata and Maplewood. Too many incentives to even list right now. So there's a reason why they call it a December to Remember. It's a great time to go see Charlie Swanson or his great staff. December to Remember ends, you guessed it, at the end of December. So see the inventory at Lexus of Wayzata or lexusofmaplewood.com. Back with Wendy Blackshaw, President, CEO of Minnesota Sports and Events, getting ready for the World Junior Hockey Championships at both Mariucci and Grand Casino Arena. I know you're not going to go deep in the weeds on who are the favorites. You've mentioned the U.S. and the background, and it's U.S. and Canada, but you got Sweden, we got Finland. I mean, what countries aren't making it here? Is it like Russia's not being represented? Is that right, or are they coming?
No, they are not coming,
okay.
and that's not because they're not an amazing hockey program, but because of all the the state of the world. So they will not.
Yeah.
I would imagine in the future they probably at some point will. Our preliminary roster has been set, Team USA, and you heard. No, you weren't at Dunkers, but Lou and Coach Motzko were talking about this at Dunkers. That 8 Minnesotans are on the roster.
Nice.
9 returning medal winners, 25 NHL draft picks on the roster of 28. So it's pretty incredible how Minnesota is represented. That's what I really love. And Coach Motzko talked about that. They have people going out every single weekend to watch all these players that are on this roster at their colleges. And he said, these guys all have really looked good. And so he's feeling really good because we've won the gold the last 2 years. So this would be the 3rd year. Having said that, as I mentioned before, Canada, they are out for revenge. And so Team Canada, and I would tell people, go to games at Mariucci. Canada is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. And as I said, like a couple years ago when we were in Sweden, it was Sweden versus the USA in the gold medal round. Anything can happen, just like in the NHL, anything can happen. And we just hope that USA makes it to the gold medal round and three-peats.
And I'm sure when you hear from the players themselves, when they slip on that USA sweater and it's a USA on it, there's something special about it that it's really hard to duplicate in the rest of their careers, unless you go to the regular Olympics. You know what I mean? It's really, really, and those are now played by NHL players. So the years of the Miracle on Ice are gone. I mean, this is kind of it for young amateur players at this point.
Well, and we've done a lot of talking about that throughout the last 6 months with Mike Madonna, with Mark Parrish, with Paul Martin, with Keith Ballard. I mean, the list goes on and on. How unbelievably special this is, and they talk about it is second only to the Olympics, but in some ways it's even more magical because these are, the under 20 players who are typically in college, and this is what they've been dreaming of. Max Plant, who is out of Hermantown, he will be on the team. He talks about this has been his dream. And I've heard people say it's a cross between Boys State High School, March Madness, and the Olympics. And
great
when
comparison.
you are in that arena and and in Canada, this is why I really want people to come to the USA games, because in Canada, it was deafening. I mean, the energy in that arena was like nothing I've ever experienced. We want that same vibe when Team USA skates out on the ice. We want those kids to know that we're all there supporting them. And it's something you just don't want to miss. It truly is magical.
I want to go back. Your association with hockey, to me, and I didn't even know you then, but there's a famous picture of you and the late, great Herb Brooks riding in a parade, I believe after the 1980 Miracle on Ice. I'm somewhere on the university campus, and you got the biggest smile on your face. But I mean, what a photo! I mean, I had the great love and opportunity to cover the Olympics in Lake Placid, but that picture of you will last forever. And that, you know what, you're here you are all these years later, I'm now planning this worldwide event. Who would have thunk it the day you're sitting in that convertible with Herb Brooks with your cheerleading uniform on or whatever you were wearing that day?
Now, I was wearing the cheerleading uniform, so I was a Gopher hockey cheerleader. And I have to tell you that one of the reasons for me personally why this is so incredible is it feels like a full circle moment.
Oh,
it feels
I bet
like
it does.
I mean, I'm running into Jim Jutlin and Dave Jensen and
God.
all these guys, right, that were part of my life back in 1980, 1981. And I'll just tell you really quick. So there was going to be this parade to welcome the Miracle on Ice, the Minnesotans back to Minnesota after winning the gold. And so they called us, said, hey, we want the cheerleaders to ride in the cars with the players. And so we all meet. And, all the players are in the cars. And I'm looking for, the cutest player, like Rami McClanahan or, and this the old guy is like, hey, I need a cheerleader. He's waving at me. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to ride with the old coach.
The old guy.
Who was like 40 at the time. Right. And it was the most unbelievable few hours of my life. He asked me about myself. He asked me what I was majoring in. He was in that relationship impacted my life so much. One of the reasons I got my first job was because of Herb Brooks. So and the picture, I mean, it's been posted now in the last year so often because, people are like, oh my God, is that you?
That's great,
It's
Wendy.
Incredible. So really cool.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Herbie, and
cool.
I don't know if he helped you get your first job in hockey, but I'm quite aware you worked for the North Stars for a while, and that in itself was an interesting experience. You could probably write a book about, but that probably helped cement your love of the game a little bit more as well, even with all the issues that you had kind of wade through at various times with Norm Green.
At the North Stars, it was a short period of time, but I learned so much about hockey, about the players. Mike Madonna was at the North Stars at the time. And so, again, it's a little bit of a full circle moment when now I see him quite often. He's involved in our planning. I think his kids are going to participate. He's got 100 kids and they all play hockey. And so his kids are all going to participate. So again, it's that the hockey world, and Mark, you know this so well, it's small, it's tight. And it's really cool. Just so many people from my past, the North Stars, the Gophers, all kind of coming back into the fold. So it's been special.
Well, it is, and it's all coming together at the end of the month. As you said, people, this is an opportunity right now to still get tickets that are available because they're going fast, and it's an amazing event that's not going to be coming back here, at least for a long, long time. In the meantime, you're still, you and your group are always actively looking for other events. I mean, I had the honor, like I said, with my wife, Karen, to go on the Big Ten basketball, the Caitlin Clark experience and the huge impact that, in particular, women's sports has made in this community. I know you're a big champion of what's been happening with women's sports and pushing, that narrative forward and seeing the great athletes that we get to see in person now. How would you say that's changed in your time and in doing what you're even doing right now, or even going back a few years before you even got involved in this?
Well, I think you were part of our kind of elevation of women's sports, specifically those groundbreaking women for Title IX that we did the whole program around Women's Final Four. Yeah, it was great. And you got to, interview, and I'm totally blanking. And Bancroft.
Bancroft. Oh, of course.
Anne Bancroft. Yeah, like Lindsay, all those amazing women who have really moved women's sports forward so much in Minnesota. And so we are a great market when these large scale events are looking at where to bring an event. We're a great market for that because people here love women's sports and we sell tickets. So we are always on that top of the list for those events. And so right now we're looking at potentially actually creating an event that would be at Target Center that would be a college basketball tournament. So more to come on that. And that would be something that we are actually developing. It would be probably college, potentially Big Ten teams, some sort of invitational. Again, because we do so well when we sell tickets. We're looking at another women's Final Four. We're looking at another Big Ten women's. And then the big one that's coming up is in 2031, the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. FIFA brings with it a whole slew of interesting things, but it would be amazing to have that event here. And I think we would do incredibly well because, again, this is a market that really does support women's sports. I mean, Aurora is a great example. And I think as time goes on, that increases. It just gets more, women's sports get more and more prevalent, especially basketball. We would love to do a World Juniors for women's hockey. So we are always looking at what are those women's events that we can bring here so that people can really, Minnesotans love women's basketball, of course, huge supporters of women's hockey. I mean, look at the Frost. Mm-hmm. And so that's always something we're trying to really focus on. As we wrap things up here, Wendy, this is all fine and good, but really the bottom line is, when are you going to get WrestleMania here? I mean, that's the one that that's what I keep hearing about. And I know you've gone into some deep, dark meeting rooms to try to work this out. I mean, that's the one that everyone seems to be talking about. When are they going to have WrestleMania here at U.S. Bank or wherever? I suppose U.S. Bank. We've got SummerSlam coming in August. So next August? Okay. All right. Yeah. So we shift. I mean, honestly, Mark, January 6th, it all becomes about the superstars. It all becomes about WWE. So, keep tuned, stay tuned in on this because we will shift into our WWE focus because SummerSlam is going to be huge. It's so incredible in this market. We have a 2-night event with all the ancillary events. Actually, WWE is here today doing site visits. And so August, tickets will go on sale in April and it will be huge. I even have to admit, having been now to WrestleMania and SummerSlam, the theatrics, it's unbelievable. It's come a long way. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Exactly. And that has to be I assume at U.S. Bank. I assume that's about the only venue that could hold as many people that want to go to that, and it'll sell out in a heartbeat. I mean, it is right. I mean. Yep, exactly. We know it will sell out, and everyone walks around carrying their belts. Those heavy belts. It's crazy. It's like reality TV before reality TV. Like there's storylines and there's feuds and all this. I mean, and it's gotten better over the years. It was so popular here. Right. Yeah, it was so popular here way back when. So it will be fun. I'm sure the barkeeps would really enjoy having all those folks come to town at last call. I can only imagine what goes on. Absolutely. Well, it's all part of the fabric of what we have to offer and so much more. Wendy, thanks so much for spending some time. I know you're not sleeping a lot, but it's all going to be a roaring success, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds here in the Twin City area here at the end of December. So one more time, mention that if folks still want to get tickets, they can be had, and how would you get them? You go to worldjuniorsmn26.com, and there's still tickets available. So, and again, go to some Canada games, go to some Sweden games. This is the best hockey you're going to see outside of the NHL. and even more magical because these are kids who have dreamed about this their whole life. So please come to the games.
Love you, Wendy. You're so good at this. Congratulations. And get some sleep when this is over.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Love you too. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.